Hey everyone, Carla here with etrailer.com. Today we're going to be taking a look at and showing you how to install these Konig Summit XXL tire chains on our 2020 Range Rover Velar. So today we're working with a 255 R19 tire size. You can find that on the side of your tire, and definitely check out our fit guide to make sure that you are getting the correct size chains for your application. Alright, so I'll be honest with you, these chains are specialty chains. They're not going to be the chain for everybody. Basically, these are specially made for vehicles where you want zero contact with the wheel or the rim. So if you've got nice rims that are very expensive and you don't want them getting scratched, you don't want to potentially cause any damage to them, then this is the only way to go, which would allow you to still use the chains, get the traction that you need, but not worry about making contact with that rim at all. And this is what I mean when I say there's absolutely no contact. As you can see, we have these curved pieces that are going to be basically evading our wheel right here. And there is nothing, the entire chain is only going to be resting on our tire tread. Right here, we're going to take a closer look at these dual-sided D-links. These are dual-sided to provide you that extra traction that you need. Right here, we've got our icebreaker. That's going to help break all that solid ice that's on the road to get you out of that situation as well. And then we move right here, which these are our traction plates. They are made out of a very, very durable composite, and they have these studs that come out, which are metal, and they're going to provide even more traction for you. But what this does, with it being built into it, not only do you have that grip, but it helps with ride quality. Relatively better ride than most other chains that are bulky and sit on top like this. So right here in the center, we've got our ratchet mechanism. It's already tightened down, but I'll show you real quick. To release the tension, we want to go ahead and pull this back, just like that. So at that point, you can then pull this off and then finish removing your tire chain. But it just works like this to tighten all the way in. Now, I did want to show you that these chains do come in this really nice upgraded bag. It fits your zipper in here, and the front and back are reinforced. You don't really have to worry about these chains poking through or anything like that. Inside, you are going to get the installation instructions, of course, a kneeling mat, some pretty basic gloves, and of course, the tool that you need to get these installed. Now, they do come in a quantity of 2, and the mile per hour rating on these is 30 miles per hour. So you want to make sure you're keeping it slow out there at all times. All right, so the very first thing you want to do, since there is some assembly required to set up the tire chains for the very first time, obviously, especially with this tire chain, you want to make sure you do this process before you actually need to use it, so it's ready to go when you do find yourself out in the cold weather. So the first thing is to check which adapter for your lug nuts you're going to be using. It comes with 3 different sizes. One of them is already going to be pre-installed on this piece. Now, we've test fitted this chains before, so I'm not sure exactly which one was originally on here, but I can tell you that for our Range Rover tire, the lug nuts that we're going to be using, the adapter is number 22. So to install it, if we can take a closer look right here, what we want to do is line up this hex shape right here to the one on the cap right here. So we line it up until it comes through just like that. Once it's on there, we grab this piece right here. We want to make sure that this strap and this is on the outside. We're going to go ahead and set this on the inside. All right, so for our application on our Range Rover Velar, we're actually going to be using the 22s, as I mentioned, as well as the medium bolts. You can see them all 3 right here. The long ones we can set aside, and the shorter ones we can set aside as well. We are going to be using the silver spacers as well, so the red ones we're not going to be using. All right, so with this already selected, we can go on to adjusting our chain. According to the instructions for this 255/55/19 tire on our Range Rover. We are going to be taking off 3 of these bolts. And essentially what these do, as you can see right here, it cinches the chain in the middle to make it a little bit smaller for those smaller tire sizes that this fits. But in our application, we do actually need to make it longer. By releasing the tension right here, we're going to make that longer. So with the provided tools, we're going to go ahead and remove the bolts, and I'll show you how to do it right now. Use the longer one to go on one end. We're going to use the star wheel one to go and release this nut. So just like that. I'm going to actually be turning it counterclockwise, and I'm going to use both and turn both to get it done a little bit quicker. So you can hear how that's already coming loose. And there we go, it's out. So now we can remove these parts. You can probably put them back in your bag, but you won't be needing them for this application. And we're going to repeat that process for 2 more of these bolts. All right, now that we've taken these 3 pieces out, we can go ahead and grab our chain and start fitting it onto our tire. You want to go ahead and pull it apart, make sure that there aren't any kinks or anything like that. And we'll set it on top here. Untwist it. Now we're obviously not going to be able to set it all the way in. That's going to happen when we drive, but want to line up these curves or grooves with the edge of our tire the best that we can. All right, with our chain fitted on here as best as we can go ahead and start assembling this part. And to do that, we want this piece with the red hex on the outside. So this piece on the outside, we'll go ahead and grab our adapter here. We're going to put the spacer in the middle and then put our bolt through the top right here, just like that. All right, so with the spacer loosely assembled, we can now go ahead and fit it on our lug nut. You want to make sure that it is pushed all the way in. And you also want to make sure that our plastic piece right here is facing the opposite lug nut. So just like that. And then we'll take our wrench that's included and start tightening it down. And we're going to want to go ahead and turn this and tighten it until we hear a click. This tool that's included will click automatically when it's torqued down to specs. All right, so the very last step before we drive forward, we use this mechanism right here to ratchet this down. You can see how it's applying that tension and it's moving it closer and closer to the center of the wheel here. All right, I'd say that's good. So we're ready to go ahead and drive this forward. So I went ahead and helped it in a little bit to help it seat in, only because we don't really have the space, or there's, we don't have the snow on the ground to actually drive these how you're supposed to without damaging them. So I went ahead and helped it by hand. We're going to go back with it a little bit. So you can see right here, these 3 are exactly how you want them to be. And as you drive forward, they're all going to look like that. And that's pretty much all it takes for that installation.